Audio.etc. is proudly supported by Auto Sound and Security.
Come away with me in the night.
Oh, that sounds so nice. Good morning everyone, how's it going? James here from Audio.etc. Finally getting to the stages now where I can finish off the install of the Focal PS-165f3 into my legacy. Today I am going to hopefully do the last two steps of this job, really. It's all I've got left to do. Swap out these crossovers, swap those ones out for these ones, so they're for the two-way set, this is for the three-way set, and I would really like to get these cute little mid-ranges installed on the dash as well. First step is doing these crossovers. Just need to get this panel up and off, unscrew the terminals from those ones, get them out. These ones will just go straight in their place, they're the exact same size. And these are the new wires for the new tweeters, which I just have to run. And I have to connect up the old tweeter wires to the mid-range outputs of these because that's where the new mid-ranges are going to be wired up to. So, let's just, for starters, I wonder if I can do this one hand. Just gonna lift this up, get my hand under there, and then just pop, pop. Oh, that thing's coming off. It needs to stay on there. There we go. And now this just lifts up and off. Cool. Now, how have I run the speaker wires? Looks like I've gotten them under this whole thing. Okay, I need to set up the tripod. So, I can get this up and out to begin with. Where have I run these wires? Where do they go? Oh, they're coming out from under this thing. That's where I need to run these. Underneath this. But I can't even see. Oh, there they are. They're just down there and then they duck through that hole. Okay, I can do that. Sweet as. I wonder if I'm going to have to take this out. I might. I think I will. Yes, okay. Comes up and out. Oh wait, I can't take it up now, it's connected. Now I can get this out. Do I need to take the crossovers out first? And did I glue this down? I did glue this down. Okay, that makes things trickier, because I glued this down. Why did I do that? It made my life much harder. Okay, I wonder if I can probably just feed these through somehow. Shouldn't be too hard, because these are just going to follow with the other wires which are in behind here. Maybe this would be a bit easier if I just got the old ones out to begin with. I wonder if I should make a note of what's positive and negative. Okay, unscrew these from their mounts. Here's one. Here's two. Okay, question is, because I'm going to have to take this off at some point to do sound deadening behind it. Am I going to be able to do that without ungluing these? I think I will be able to. Yeah, I will. So I'm going to leave this stuck down rather than ungluing it. Alright, so back to what I was doing, trying to get this wire through under there so that I can then attach it to these ones and pull it through. Probably use this one here. Depends if these crimps are going to go through or not. Simply would this be if I just took this frickin' panel off and stopped being so lazy. I'm lazy. Oh, they all loom together, are they? Yeah. Oh, yeah, there we go. Oh yeah, there we go. Got that through, now I can attach both of these on here. Okay. Hopefully this goes back through. Yes. No! That pulled out. Quickly grab it. we go. Now, pull these through. Funny thing is, I don't know which one of these Focal wires is which tweeter. Just have to test it. There we go, they're all through. There we go, I got all the wires through. Now I just need to know which of these is which tweeter and then cut them to length. Okay, so those are my old crossovers. Let's mount the new ones in position, and I'm going to take the covers off when I do this as well, just make it a lot easier. Okay. It's off like that. Numero uno. You can get the screws out of these old ones to mount it with. No, that one doesn't have one. 2. Cool. First thing I can do is put the input back in place. That one there is negative. Positive input. This one here is obviously the woofer. Negative, positive.
2,000 years later.
Okay guys, moving right along. Sorry, yeah, the battery in the GoPro died again, and it's annoying me just as much as it's annoying you guys, if not more. But long story short, I got the crossovers all wired up and mounted. I've left the covers off them though, because I'm thinking I may or may not want to do some adjustments on these switches, as there is a tweeter 0 or -3 decibel switch, and there is also a mid-range adjustment switch, which I may do some playing with. I'm not sure. There's a tweeter switch here and a mid-range switch up here. But it's all wired up at this end. I can't turn it on yet though, because currently the mid-range output wires, which are these little thin silver ones, are still connected to the tweeters on top of the dash from the 165FX set. So that's my next step. I'm going to take those out, disconnect them anyway, and next step I'm going to be looking at trying to mount these the little mid-ranges, these little ducks, into the top of the dash. But it is not going to be easy, I already know that. Not looking forward to it, but I'm looking forward to hearing what it sounds like when it's done. So let's do that. I'll just move this out of the way so no one kicks it, which is very easy. I just keep my little pry bar here, carefully get under there, lift up that cover, boom 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 boom. This one does have a little thing that needs unplugging, which is just as easy as that. I don't know what it is, but it's a little light or sensor or something in there. I honestly don't even know what it does though. It's either a infrared receiver for the remote control, or it's a security light. There's my 165FX tweeter. I can unscrew this off this custom ABS panel that I made, and I'm probably going to do the same thing for the mid-range. I'm going to use ABS because it's nice and thin and pretty strong as well. I don't use ABS that often in cars. I mean, if I wanted to be really cool and professional I could, like Mark, but we don't have that much ABS to work with. We just use it for only very specific jobs when it's really, really needed. Most of the time we can get away with MDF, but in this case I needed something thinner, but just as strong. So there we go, 2 screws holding it down. This just lifts up and out like that. I'm glad I made the wires from the crossover come all the way up here, because it means that because these wires are going to screw straight into the bottom of the mid-range there. So undo the tape from here, and I'm just going to desolder these very carefully without dropping solder on the dashboard. Oh, there it goes. Okay, oh, are the wires falling down and lost forever? Not quite. Those are still got to go into the bottom of here. I wonder if these solder bits will fit straight in or not. One cool thing about these little speakers is that there is no blade connect terminals on them. You actually insert the wires into these little holes on the side here and tighten the little flat blade screws up. Something slightly different. They just need a slight trim because they're a bit wide. That one might be alright. Yep, that'll fit, and that one will fit. Cool, we'll leave that like that, then like that. So now we're going to shove these so that I won't lose them. I'm just going to have to sit down there and I just have to hope I don't lose them. So now the thing is, this doesn't fit in here, and I outlined this in another video. This does not fit whatsoever. So what I have to do is cut this dashboard plastic somehow. The actual woofer itself does fit in here. So what I'm going to do, there's only really one place where it actually physically fits nicely without it sitting up off anything. So I'm just going to rest that about there. That's where it's going to sit ultimately. And I'm going to use my scribe. It's going to have to go there, I think. Actually it'd be good if I could just use the little screws. Might have to just use 3 little screws to hold it in rather than actually putting it on a panel. That might be a better idea, because use a screw here, here, and at the back on this basket to screw it down, and then this one here will just have to be floating, unfortunately. But if I just sort of put it in position where I think it's going to go, which is somewhere between there and there, it's probably there, let's face it. Okay, let's try outlining that, because this is where the edge of the basket is going to line up, and I should also, if I can put the screws in the places where I think they're going to go as well. So I'm pretty sure, because if I have this, okay, in that case, so the way it's going to go, I think I'll put it like that so it's easier to get to the back screw. Now, why does this line up with this? Pretty much perfectly. Maybe what I should do instead, rather than trying to put this on, you know, I say about there. Okay, let's mark this on the plastic. Okay, that's pretty good, I think. Now I have a circle marked out as to where it's going to sit. So what I need to do now is make something that's going to... Oh, I wonder if that little frame that comes with it would do it. Okay, so this little piece is like the bottom of the grill. Oh, but see, the thing is I'm not going to be able to get that in there to... What I need to do is I need a piece of plastic like this that is the right dimension for the bottom. How to do. Okay, sorry, the battery died again, so I'm on another battery now. What I actually managed to do was, because this one was just too big, these little plastic trims come with the woofers and suspend their little grill thing off the woofer. So, as I was saying before the phone rang again, so these plastic things normally just hold, where is it? There's another one just here. Here we go, this thing. So that just sort of is a packaging thing. I managed to cut the center out of it so that now the hole in the middle is the right mounting hole. So this hole in the middle here now fits around this little woofer pretty perfectly, and I was able to sort of sit this down and mark the hole on there. So now that I've got the hole marked out, the next step is to try and cut it out, which is the tricky part, but I think I've got an idea as to how I'm going to do it. I think what I'm going to do, because I've marked the hole, is come in here with my Dremel and my little cutting bit, and I'm going to really carefully try and cut it out with the Dremel, because there's only two little sections I have to get out. So I can cut it out and then maybe do a wee bit of filing, and I'm just going to have to, you know, slowly cut away at it until that little woofer fits down into the hole. So this may take me a little bit of time, so I might start a little time lapse, just a real quick one. I'm going to put a towel and everything up here and be careful. Okay. Okay, there we go guys, after a fair bit of time and struggle, I have managed to get it in there. Basically I just, as you would have seen, went around the hole and widened it out with my Dremel with the cutting bit on it, and just sort of widened it out. Marked the holes where they needed to go. I managed to get 3 of the screws through the actual basket of the woofer into the plastic, and I just used this little scribe here to mark the holes, and then that and another scribe and a couple of screws here and there, and just sort of kind of carefully powered them through the plastic, and that's how I got them in. This back one was an absolute nightmare, but because you know, obviously can't get anything in there to control it, but got it in there eventually. I have already tested it to make sure it works, and I have tested to make sure that the grill cover goes on, which it does, which is what I'm going to do now, and I can call this one done. But I might just quickly take a picture of that before I do. Let's turn macro on. There we go. Now I can put this little cover back on. I have to plug this thing in, which is pretty tricky in itself. Just got to get that lined up vertically. Gene easy. There we go. Click in, and now got to get these little bits passed around the outside of it. There we go, like that. And then click. Down. Done. So glad that that goes all the way down. And looking at it from above, the mid-range is lined up exactly with the hole in the grill. So that's worked out really well. Sweet. That's one done. Now I need to go do the other one on the other side. Cool.
One eternity later.
Well guys, the PS-165f3 three-way component speakers are officially in. Done. They are done, they are in. It was a nightmare doing those mid-ranges on the dash, mainly just because I'm OCD and could not, live with just two speakers at the front of the speaker. Two screws, sorry, at the front of the speaker holding it in. I had to have all three on that side, or four. I actually managed to get 4 screws holding this one down on that side. I have put the covers back on, but if you want to have a good look at it, I have taken some photos which I have uploaded to Facebook. Well, I will upload them if they're not up already. Then, so you can check that out. They're in there. I've had a listen already. It's sounding good. I wanted to, before I did a full listening test, play with the settings on the crossovers and see if there's anything I like the sound of better. Because one thing I was wanting to do with the FX series, but never really got around to it. It's not a problem now, but I never really got around to attenuating the tweeter that was over here, because it was sounding really trebly over on the front right side of the car and not as much from the left. So I wanted to attenuate this one like by -3 dB and leave that one on 0, and I think that would have helped. It's not a problem now. I've got these tweeters in and going, and I tried that setup first. I tried having this one on -3 dB and that one over there on 0, but it was still quite trebly coming in from the left hand side, so I put them both on -3, and it definitely sounds a lot better like that. It even says in the manual that comes with the speakers, if the tweeters are down by the down next to the woofers, put them on 0 dB, and if they're on top of the dash or on top of the door, then put them on -3. It actually specifies to do that in the manual. So I'm not doing that just because the manual said so. I'm just saying that coincidentally the manual recommends -3 dB if you're having them up high, and that is what sounds best. They sound nice and subtle. And also the other setting you can play with, let's go back there, I'll show you. I haven't put the covers back on the crossovers yet, just for the purpose of showing you guys this. So down on the right hand side here of each of them, there is the tweeter adjustment. It's only got 0 dB or -3 dB just for the tweeters, and yeah, as I just said, those are both sounding much better with them on -3 dB. The other setting is up here at the top left of each of the crossovers, and that one, it says under it, well, it says on the left flat, on the right high, and then it says mid next to it. So it says mid above it as well. So these are controlling the mid basses, not the mid ranges, just the mid basses, because the FX series actually have this as well. There is no adjustment whatsoever for the mid-range. It just comes out how it comes out. But what these switches do, the difference between flat and high. I had a good look through the manual. There isn't actually any good documentation saying what it's meant for, but from what I can tell from listening to it and from doing the speakers before in other cars and playing with it, the flat to high adjustment seems to change the low pass filter of the mid bass. So if you have it on flat, it's at like sort of a standard low pass filter, but on high, I think it raises it up a wee bit. It either raises it up a wee bit or it slightly decreases the decline octave of the low pass filter. Either way, it allows higher frequencies to come out of the mid ranges, the mid basses. Sorry, not the mid ranges. I tried it on both because obviously I do have a mid range on top of the dash firing at the windscreen, so there should be plenty of mid range on there. I tried listening to music with them on both different settings, and ultimately I'm just going to do what sounds best. And personally, I think it sounded best on high, which is what they came factory. So I've got them set on high, which means the mid basses and the mid ranges are making like vocals in mid range, I'm pretty sure. And it sounds good that way. So as I said, in yesterday's video, I'm always going to do what's going to ultimately result in better sound over what is theoretically right. So that's what I've done. I just wanted to leave the covers off the crossovers to show you guys that. But I can chuck these back on now. I'm going to have to set the GoPro down. You may have noticed I also put the whole boot and everything back together. I did a big tidy up after I'd gotten those in and put a new battery in the GoPro. I'm seriously gonna have to buy a new camera, I think, guys. Like, I love the GoPro because it's lightweight and it's and it does a lot of things. Like, it can do time lapses and high resolution video, obviously, and it's very easy and portable and easy to use, easy to set up in different situations. But honestly, I think I'm gonna have to buy a new camera because it would have actually been fine in the state that it is, apart from the fact that I have to keep frickin' changing batteries. This all stemmed from, for some reason, ever since I started using this microphone, well, it's not this microphone's fault, ever since I started playing around with a microphone adapter for the GoPro, for some reason, whatever reason, the port on the side of the GoPro that you use to charge it no longer works. So it's actually the same port as what the microphone adapter goes into, the little mini USB port. The microphone's connector still works fine, but for whatever reason I cannot manage to charge the GoPro through that port. It makes no sense to me, and I've tried it with multiple genuine GoPro USB cables off the computer, off my genuine GoPro battery pack. I don't know why it's not working, but it isn't. So now when a battery goes flat in my GoPro, which is starting to happen more and more often now, I actually have to take the GoPro out of its case, remove the battery, put a new battery in, put that battery on charge. And it's also getting to the point where I've charged and discharged these batteries so many times now that I think they're slowly deteriorating in reliability, and they're actually only storing possibly a surface charge. Even the genuine GoPro, I've got one genuine GoPro battery, which is the one that came with it, and then I've got two, cheap third-party batteries, which were meant to be backups, but now I'm having to use them like all the time. So all of that said, I think I am seriously going to have to invest some money in a new camera, guys. But that's what the Patreon support money is for, and that's what the the YouTube advertising money is for. I mean, to be honest, a lot of it went towards me being able to do such an awesome sound system in this car. But, I need to keep producing content for you guys, and I can't do that if my camera keeps crapping out. Also, you can probably see there's some dead LEDs on this cheap LED strip here. How many have died? I don't know, there's 1, 2, 3 that have died there. They are still going, but just definitely not as bright. This whole side is fine. And then there's one that has died. Is that an LED? No, that's a resistor. It's just those 3 there that have died. I don't know why. But, oh well, it still looks good. So those are back together. Let's get this cover, and I'm going to give this a clean while I'm here since I've got it out. Just microfiber it. I don't know where or when this scratch on the back of it appeared. It was like right at the very beginning when I was making this, and it really annoys me. Just get rid of all the dust mainly. Dust and the fibers and shit. Then this just pops back on. Just like that. Focal PS-165f3 install is complete. Crossovers, tweeters, mid-ranges, mid-basses, done. And now I can go into my notes. Project Legacy, Focal PS-165f3 upgrade, done. The only thing I have left to do, guys, to complete the sound system in this car is sound deaden these rear wheel arches you can see right here. Put some more on the floor behind, on the, rear passengers area, and possibly some on the roof. I'm still undeciding on what I'm going to do with all this, with all the extra sound deadening. But I'm definitely doing these rear wheel arches, and I'm definitely doing the rear floor. I'm just deciding whether to do it with Dynamat or cheap stuff. See, the battery on now, this brand new battery, well, it's not a brand new battery, the battery that I just put in after being on the charge is now already showing up flat. I seriously need a new camera setup, I think. Right after I, upgraded all this and got a case and a microphone and lenses and shit. Ugh. Anyway, there we go. If you guys want to see the video when I installed the two-way version of these crossovers, I'll put a card up on the corner up here. That's, for when I cut it out, and there's another video for when I did the LEDs and all that. And I'll do another card for when I installed this amplifier, which, by the way, if you are unfamiliar, I'm sure a lot of you are, but if you're unfamiliar, this is a Rockford Fosgate T1000 X5AD. It's a 5-channel amp, 1000 watts RMS total, and it is only the length of my hand spanned out. It's an awesome amp. It's the same as that one that I put in the Audi, which shat its guts out. But my one I've had no issues with. So I'll put the card for that up in the corner as well. Okay, now I can put the rest of the boot stuff back in. Cool. There we go. We're back together, ready to go home. Now, the listening test. Or I would do a listening test if the customer hadn't just come in. Okay, now the listening test. Do I want to listen to all of them? I like listening to the difference between having the rear speakers on and off and the subwoofer on and off. Let's listen to this song. At the moment we've just got the subwoofer. Just got the front speakers, no rear speakers or subwoofer. Okay guys, well, sorry, because it was getting real late and we had to close up shop, the audio listening test is going to be outside here. And I didn't really follow through with that one I was just doing because right at the very beginning of, what's that song called? Hotel California, there's a couple of bass hits and there was a real serious rattling coming from the front left door. And I tried to spend some time diagnosing it, but I couldn't figure out what it was. But I did figure out that it's not coming from any of the speakers. So the speaker installation is fine. There's obviously just something loose somewhere inside the actual door card that I need to secure down. I think it might be those logo LED things that I have projecting out from the bottom of the door. That might be a bit loose. But that'll just be a real quick, fix, just a bit of sound treatment, that needs to stop that rattle. But I can do that probably tomorrow. But anyway, back to the listening test. Let's go to SD card because that's got my FLAC files on it. I didn't realise how loud that was going to be. Had to replace the battery again. At this rate I'm not going to have a camera next week because these batteries are only lasting like 5 minutes at a time. It's actually terrible. It's hopeless. Let's go back to what we were listening to see how it all sounds. And I'm going to just go without the subwoofer, just the front speakers, just plain old stereo, and see how clear it sounds. The fader all the way to the front. Said that rattle was still there. Good clear mid bass. It is still there. I don't know if you guys heard that, but there's a rattle on that door somewhere. that no matter what I do, I can't seem to get rid of this tweeter being extra prominent. Let's bring the subwoofer in. Here it is. There's the subwoofer. See, before you could just turn the subwoofer up to maybe like half before you started hearing it, but now you can only really notice the subwoofer coming in once you turn it up to almost nearly maximum. And that's just the difference that the sound deadening has made for producing bass up the front. It's sounding very, very clear. I like it. Going back to that tweeter thing, I was thinking, oh, maybe I should set this tweeter up to 0 dB so that it matches this one on the right here. But I do remember testing that, and that just made that one extra prominent. So unfortunately there isn't really a nice balance point where these tweeters come at sort of sound to me like they're going to be at the same sort of volume. Yes, I know if I went active and had a DSP and everything like that I could have controlled that, but I'm not going to jump on that bandwagon just yet. You don't need to remind me. I am aware how great active is. That just costs a whole lot more money, and it's too late to go that way now. So yeah, it definitely sounds good and clear. Oh shit, now I'm sounding really unenthusiastic about this, aren't I? It sounds great. I really love the way that the vocals have come up from down. Before the vocals were sounding like they were sort of coming from, you know, where my feet are, or maybe in the middle, but now the vocals are up in front of me, and it sounds way more sort of live action, you know. It sounds much more like it's on a stage as opposed to coming out of speakers, because when you think of someone talking to you, you imagine that sort of sound to come at you from head height, which is about where the vocals are now, and all the bass, like all the bass guitar and the drum, the kick, the bass, what do they call it in drums? The floor bass, the kick, that's down on the floor as well. So it's really good having that vocal lift up there. I do think it has been worth the upgrade from the 2-ways to the 3-ways. It does sound good. Only thing I wish I could do is maybe you modify the volume of that tweeter just a wee bit. It's just a wee bit prominent. It is very close to my face, you know, and that one is much further away, but I really don't think that there's much I can do about it. It's not so bad that, like, you know, you get in here and think it sounds bad. Honestly, it's just me being nitpicky and a wee bit OCD about it. But ultimately, the sound system in this car, apart from some more sound deadening, is finished now, and it sounds great. I really love it. Let's go full noise. Let's get the subwoofer in and get the rear speakers in. What else have we got? Let's play a song off my iPod, or off my iPhone. This is with all the speakers and sub.
Come away with me in the night.
Oh, that sounds so nice.
Come away with me and I will ride.
That's without the subwoofer. Now with the subwoofer.
I wanna walk with you on a mountain top.
That song is beautiful. Frickin' Nora Jones in her voice. Oh, OPO does some really nice stuff. This isn't vocal though. Better glitch chop because I wouldn't be a cliche young person if I didn't play a wee bit of EDM. By the way, this volume wise, that's 24 out of 40, and it can go all the way to the top with no clipping. No sub. Sub. Just adjusted the EQ a wee bit. I just adjusted the EQ a wee bit to try and, you know, bring down that screechy treble a wee bit. I just reduced the 8K. I wonder if I can show you again. Wait, where is it? EQ. I don't know if you guys can see this. It was set to powerful, which looks like that, and I just adjusted it a tiny bit, and I brought down the 80 Hertz to avoid a bit of resonance, and I reduced the 8K as well. I like having my 12.5K up nice and high. I like that really crisp high-end treble, but I don't like the 8K treble. To me, 8K treble is like that, I don't know, it's hard to explain. Hard to explain without looking weird when I do this, but to me 12.5K or 16K, that real top end treble, is like, it's the real top absolute crispiness of treble. But the 8K is like shh, shh. So it's like that more real ear piercy treble, and I just prefer that to be down a wee bit. Almost go without it, if you know, not entirely, but like I like to kind of skip it and go right to the top treble. Just sounds a bit, you know, cleaner and crisper to me. Possibly it makes it sound a bit more natural and vocal, because when you think about it, there's more words in the English language that have a S sound than there are words that have a SH sound. You know, there's more. Yeah, we use a lot of words with S in it, like with a S, but not many words with sh. So hearing too much of that, I don't know why, to me it just sounds a wee bit screechy. But it's sounding good now. I like it a lot. Wonder if I've got time on this GoPro battery to address some of your comments or questions on any of my last videos. Let's have a look here, just real quick at the end of this video. Okay, so a lot of you guys are talking about the audio becoming out of sync. I don't think this is just my videos. I think it's actually not necessarily other people's videos as well. I think it might be something to do with what device you're watching on, because I've been watching other people's videos as well on my phone, and they've been coming out of sync as well. Like, you get to about sort of 20 or 30 minutes into someone's video and then their voice is slightly out of sync. So my advice to you guys, if you wouldn't mind, right after you watch one of my videos that has a lip sync issue where the sound becomes out of sync with the video, would you mind just going into a completely random different video from like someone else, either a different YouTuber that you watch or a different channel with, you know, where they're obviously talking, and see if you get the same thing, and try and aim for videos that are longer as well, because it always seems to happen when you watch long videos like 20 or 30 minutes plus, because I'm experiencing the same thing with videos that I've been watching. So it might not just be me, guys, but if you wouldn't mind, just try and do some diagnosing and figure out if it's just my videos or if it's other people's as well, because I feel like it's other people's as well. The other thing I want to talk about the audio, you guys always say turn down the music volume. Honestly, I am trying. Okay, so this is gonna get, hopefully you guys understand this, it's a bit technical, but when I edit my videos, on the right hand side of where it shows what is on screen at the time, there's a little audio level meter like this, you know, like a Steve Mead VU. It's a VU meter, shows the volume. And I try and edit my videos so that all of my voice comes out at 0 dB. And then you add a song and that instantly loads in at 0 dB as well. The difference and the reason why music sounds so much louder, and particularly to people who are listening to headphones or listening through a sound system, car sound system, computer sound systems, TV sound system, it sounds louder to them because it's the difference between me saying a whole lot of words at 0 dB with spaces in between each word, and then a song which is produced and set up to be just one constant volume of 0 dB. So the reason it sounds quieter when I'm talking than the music is because I don't just constantly talk without, you know, taking a break in between words. Like if I just talk like this without constantly taking a break, it would just like come out at one solid volume, the same as what music is. It's just got a constant volume, and that's why it seems quieter than the music. Because I can assure you, on my software, it's telling me that the music volume and the voice volume is the exact same. It's just that there's gaps in between my words, so it goes quiet. But I am trying to make the music quieter. But the thing is, when you turn down the music like that, it actually becomes noticeable, and it sounds really weird. Like it sounds like the music is in the background somewhere, as opposed to, you know, a main part of the video. But I am trying my best, guys. That's just a bit of an explanation of what's going on there, but I will keep trying to adjust it and make it sound a bit better. I'm not just like, I do see your comments, I'm not just ignoring them. James, do you have the crossover on your amp off? Yes, so the crossovers on my 5-channel amp are completely off. Well, the speaker channels are turned off. The subwoofer crossover, you can't actually turn it off, but I've just got it set to its maximum frequency for low pass, which is like 500 Hertz. So it won't be letting any signals in higher than 500 hertz, but I use all the built-in crossovers that are on my stereo because they're digital, and they limit the sound from actually leaving the stereo, as opposed to using, you know, some analog technology to filter them out. You know, should have done the wet. Yeah, the wet. I know. I didn't want the glossy look though. There's very little glossy stuff in this car. Like, these trims around the outside are glossy just on their own, and I think they look good like that. To be honest, I tried putting a clear coat on that tweeter pod, and that's what caused me that whole drama with all of that, all those extra coats and extra sanding I had to do with that pod, was just because I put a coat of clear coat on it, and for whatever reason it just went funny and contaminated it, and it took me ages to get it back to the same condition as this one. But yeah, I prefer the satin or matte black look in this car, I think, that rather than the gloss look. Erland Urkel, is there any difference versus a sub amp and a speaker amp, and would you amp the tweeters as well? Well, first of all, yes, there's a huge difference between a subwoofer amp and a speaker amp, typically. So now this will vary brand to brand, but typically, I know there are people out there who are going to pull me up on this. Typically a subwoofer amp is what's called D class. I'm pretty sure that's because D stands for digital. Basically it does a lot more digital amplification than actual analog amplification. It's good because it's more efficient, it produces less heat and more power. So essentially that's why subwoofer amps are always way more powerful than multi-channel amps, because they're D class or some other similar class to D, and they can just produce more power. They're more efficient, they produce less heat, and that's why they're good for subwoofers as well, because subwoofers do want a lot of power, you know. So if you're using an analog amplifier to power a subwoofer, especially like a really grunty one, you're going to chew through your, you know, car's electrical supply, like your battery and your alternator. It's going to demand a lot more current from it, because that's what multi-channel amps are. They're usually A/B class, which is like analog, and it uses all the original componentry and analog components to do all of its amplification. There are a lot of purists out there who wouldn't do anything except A/B class because they believe analog is simply the best. In a lot of cases that is true, you know, like you know, proper analog clocks made by Rolex, watches made by Rolex are more accurate. Analog audio is better, like vinyl is better than CD because vinyl is analog, CD is actually digital. And a lot of people, like, you know, in car audio who are purists will say the same about amplifiers. But there are definitely differences between the amplifiers, to answer your question, and yeah, you don't really want to go mixing them up. The amount of customers I get coming in wanting to power a subwoofer off their 4-channel amp is almost laughable, how many people come in wanting to do that, and I just say, you could hook that up technically, but I won't do it, and also don't expect your amplifier to last long because you're asking too much of it. Would I amp the tweeters as well? Well, the tweeters are amped, except they're going through a passive crossover network. Typically, yeah, you would amp your tweeters. You would amp them either off the passive crossover that they're supplied with, or you would go active, which is what a lot of people are telling me to do, and you would assign a channel from your amplifier to the tweeter and adjust the gain and everything very, very carefully, because you don't want to put too much power through your tweeters, obviously. Typically, if you were doing that though, you would want a DSP to do that, because you need to really accurately control what frequencies you high pass and low pass at for your different speakers or woofers. And even though a lot of amplifiers have really good built-in crossovers, like high quality ones, the ability to adjust it and know what frequency you're on, since they're such tiny tuning pots, is pretty hard, to say the least. So if you're going active, I would definitely have a DSP. I have sound skins, deadening and sound rings. I'd love some sound rings to install into people's cars and into my car. I just don't know where to get them. What car audio YouTubers do you follow? Okay, it's a very similar question to one that 5-Star Car Stereo did not long ago, and he mentioned me and I was like, yay! And yeah, his list is pretty much the same as mine if you watch him. So I follow Steve Mead, his channel name Mead916. I follow Doug Benars, or Soundman as you may know him. He's the one with all the explosions in his videos and all of the rough as mum jokes. Mark from Car Audio Fabrication, that's his channel name, Car Audio Fabrication. Someone who I've gotten into recently, Matt Schaefer. He does that's just the name of his channel, I think, Matt Schaefer. He really hard to spell, but he does absolutely immaculate fabrication work. Oh my god, it's literally unbelievable. The amount of money his customers must sink into cars must be in the, you know, 50,000s. Oh my god, his work is absolutely beautiful. Go check him out. He doesn't do like as, you know, many videos as a lot of people do, like not like me. He doesn't do build logs. All he does is showcase videos where he shows his work, sometimes with a few photos of the build process after it's all completed. He doesn't ever do like this sort of stuff. And obviously 5-Star Car Stereo, I've started watching more of them recently, especially after they've been recommending me so much. It's very nice of them. And that was just the car audio YouTubers so far. Yeah, that's them. Because I know there's more out there, like there's EXO and a couple of others that I can't remember. But to be honest, for my ridiculous bass fix, I just go to Steve Mead. I don't need like heaps of different channels showing huge SPL. Steve Mead does a good job, and he does interesting stuff as well. He does like you know, in workshop tours and you know, interesting things, as well as big SPL demonstrations. Sometimes it's nice to have a bit of variety. John Buckland, I honestly don't know what you mean by mass loaded vinyl. Sorry man, I haven't heard of that before. Fro's House, just wondering what season is it over there. Technically it's coming into spring here. It has been a long winter. Winter is drawing itself out a wee bit. Like sometimes we're having days like this which are really nice and sunny, but tomorrow it could just as easily be raining and cold. That's the thing about New Zealand. The weather can be anything it wants, really, regardless of season. It's not consistent. Because, yeah, it can rain and be cold in summer, and it can be scorching hot in winter. It's just the way it is down here. And I think that's all of the questions on my 2 most recent videos about this car. So I'm going to call that video there, guys. It's probably getting a wee bit long now. Thank you guys for watching today's video. Choose to be happy. I'm happy. I will see you tomorrow. Kite Ano.